Welcome to another episode in our show host series. You haven't seen me in this environment before. It's because I'm in our new space at Kiln Co-working in downtown Salt Lake City, and I'm in our podcast recording room. This is available to anyone, but obviously it's available to us as members, and it's really fun to be in a dedicated podcast recording room. So you've never seen me come to you in one of these before, even though I've been around them, and obviously they're everywhere. But I wanted to give you a peek into just thinking about different ways you can add video into an audio for show. This podcast room that's set up for 4 people, we've already recorded in with some clients, and obviously you get the best sound, right? You have acoustically treated, you can see the foam on the back wall, and it has a different feeling because you know you're in a sound treated room. It's not set up to be video first, it's set up to be audio first. You're with this like dedicated mic right in front of you, and it's obviously important if you're doing voiceovers, audiobook narration, maybe meditations that require really clean sound, you would want to come to an audio first recording room. But it's also very useful to realize that even if you are doing audio first, you can still film for YouTube. I'm literally just using a tabletop camera stand. It's so easy. And so if you could see all the tech around me, you'd be like, whoa, she's in like a real recording room. But it doesn't matter because what you're going to hear and what you're going to see is just this little snapshot, and that's perfect. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the things I've been reading, some of the changes that are happening in podcasting that I think are really interesting for show hosts, because there is actually a difference in the world of podcasting, the world of YouTubing, the crossover between what's happening with podcasting and video and YouTube, and also, in my mind, this really cool landscape that's opening up for creators, talent, show hosts, whatever you want to call yourself, to start to match the medium with the message and not feel like my only option is a podcast, my only option is a YouTube channel, my only option is Instagram, my only option is a blog or a Substack, or a live event, or a paid course, or a book. And I was talking to some friend this weekend about this. We worked in the industry for a long time together, and I've also been thinking about it a lot myself as a media producer, as someone who's worked in all the aforementioned mediums. I think matching the medium to the message is kind of the power move that many creators will realize is the most important thing to do for the next 5 to 10 years. As AI develops really rapidly, as tech gets better and better, there's something really cool that can happen, and you can do this today. You don't have to wait, You can start being like, okay, I'm going to figure out what medium fits my message best. Because now that we've kind of been in this 20-year period of developing all this really cool tech to create media that you can, share for free online, it's felt like, oh, well, YouTube is the place, or podcasting is the place, or Instagram is the place, or Facebook, or, pick your favorite social media app. But the truth is, now that we have so many diverse options and they keep growing, right? Substack is really hot right now. Obviously, TikTok. All of these kind of go through a life cycle, and there's kind of very cool niches that each of them can cater to. But what I want you to think about as a show host, as a creator, as someone who has a lot of wisdom and expertise to offer, is every time you have a new idea for a project or a piece of content, or maybe just some offering of your experience, your expertise, maybe it's conversations, but maybe it's stuff that you've come up with yourself, your company, your team. I want you to think, what's the best medium for this message? Because sometimes, I'm not saying you do this, but I've seen it happen many times, if you try to match the message to the medium, if you're like, well, I have this cool idea, but I need to make it work on a podcast, or I have this cool idea, but we're just going to post it on our Instagram, so we kind of have to work with what Instagram will let us do. The message can get really diluted, it can get lost, it can be misunderstood, it can kind of be cut off at the knees, because if you're not thoughtful about the medium, like the kind of media, that's what I mean when I say the medium. If you're not thoughtful about the kind of media that you're choosing to be the vehicle for your message, it can just all come to naught. And I never want to see that happen. So that's what this video is about. You've probably heard me hint at this in other videos, but it's the conversation I'm having more and more often with everyone, friends, peers, clients, coworkers. And it's super important to me. This is sort of where I'm passionate and where I'm going to be focused for the next several years. because I've been really privileged as a producer to work heavily in podcasting, YouTube, social media, written books, live events. That's been kind of a core focus for me and a lot of my clients. But I've also worked in like the digital course space quite a bit, as well as emails and the sort of adjacent tangential mediums. I've seen a lot of social media platforms come and go. I've seen a lot of enhancements in the podcast and YouTube space. Like nothing stays the same is the parable here or the takeaway. And so I want you to feel really confident coming from a professional producer that you really can choose the right medium for your message and you won't be missing out or doing something dumb. Sometimes I do chat with people and that's their fear. They're like, well, everybody else is podcasting. So if I'm not podcasting, like I'm missing out. And I'll be the first to say, no. A lot of people are podcasting right now because they've seen the impact that it can create. But it doesn't mean that that is the best medium for a lot of people's message. And sometimes it's 100% the best medium and it's magic what happens. I've had a front row seat to that. It's amazing. But sometimes YouTube, sometimes written word, whether that's emails, blogs, digital courses, books, sometimes it needs to be a live event. It needs to be an in-person, physical, tangible experience, whether that's a small group or a big group. Sometimes the medium needs to be something that has a paywall so that people really do invest before they engage with the content. Like some content is just going to require enough of a consumer that they need to have a little skin in the game. So it needs to be a paid product. Some content is so well suited to sort of like an unedited, on the fly, we'll see what happens. And some of it, that's a disaster and it needs to be scripted and formatted and outlined and thought through. So I'm not going to give you examples of every single kind of medium. You've heard me talk about several of them in this series, but I want you to really take this as an opportunity to, if you need to, take a minute of quiet or journal or, sit in the sun and just be like, what is the medium that best fits my message? Obviously, first, this is a helpful exercise if you already have a message you want to get out, whether that's something long form like a course or a book or, a multi-episode series. It might be something small and maybe you're like, oh, the best medium for this message is Instagram. But it might be something more involved. It might be something that you are going to create over time, like it's going to come to you over time. That would inform your decision. And so I want you to think about your message, the specific one you have on your heart or your mind right now. Obviously, you're going to have more later that will fit other mediums. And then I want you to think about what medium would best be the vehicle for this message. And feel free to, imagine big. Don't feel like it has to be one. Maybe it's supposed to be a book and a course together, or it's supposed to be a podcast and a set of live events. There's so many cool combos. If you have questions, maybe you have a specific idea of your message and you're like, I don't know what medium, leave a comment on the video. I'm happy to reply, give you ideas. Obviously, you can book a consulting session with me too, but let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to know if this idea of fitting the medium to the message is making sense to you. Okay, that's it for today. Welcome to the podcast recording room at Kiln. And I will see you next week. So be sure to subscribe and I can't wait to talk to you soon.